All right, we are live. Welcome to another session of Dance Tea, where we talk about all things dance. So, we're all about giving you some practical tips and advice to help you on your dance or creative path. And so, I'm Shannon. Today, we have a beautiful and one of the most creative people and friends that I know. She's such an inspiration to me. Kumari Suraj in the house.
That's the audience. Thanks for having
What's
me.
up, girl?
How you
Thank
doing?
you for coming on. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I think a lot of people can learn so much from you, especially with the amount that you've done. And you're not just a dancer, you're so much more than that. So I'm excited to dive into it.
Cool.
Um, yeah, but before that, how's this pandemic been treating you?
Oh, this pandemic surprisingly has been glorious. I mean, aside from the buffoonery that is happening in the world and in our country, and the
Hmm.
awakening, let's just call it that, the awakening. Um, I Surprisingly, it's been really good for me. It's been a time of obviously family time, which was super important.
Right.
Um, but also, I feel like I've been extremely productive this year alone. I was able to release a music video, graduate from college, and put out a clothing line. I don't know where are these resources coming from, but it's been pretty magical, especially for self discovery and self improvement, and also like um, kind of reflecting on like where do we go from here? What's it going to look like
Right.
from here? Like how do we maneuver from here on the platforms that we want? And do I really want this or do I really want this? It's been a great time of reflection.
Right. And I think so too. And whether you like it or not, everybody got that time of reflection, which is great because a lot of times people don't want to sit there and reflect.
Right.
They just want to work, or maybe they feel like they don't have enough time. So I think in some ways this is a silver lining for a lot of people. Gives you some reflection time. But you mentioned launching your clothing line. I definitely want to get into that because I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
Can you talk to us more about your new clothing line that's super
sure.
sustainable and amazing?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I made one of the pieces for my the House of Suraj audition for Dance Plus 3. It was when you guys saw us on Choli Que Piche, those overalls. That was like the first prototype for one of the items. I developed this line while I was in school, so it took 2 years
Hmm.
to really like hone in like what is this line about. What are my non-negotiables? One being sustainability. That was one of the reasons why I didn't pursue fashion earlier, was because I didn't know that there were so many sustainable options. And actually, those
Mm.
options have been made available as of recent. So it was just kind of perfect timing. Um, and I developed a 15-piece collection. I've only released 3 items, which are the overalls. And then I have an upcycle program where people can send me their saris, and then we create bomber jackets or jumpsuits with the zip.
That is awesome. That's cool.
Because everybody's got like gorgeous saris from the 80s and 90s that their aunties or their moms have just been storing away, but like you really you don't want to wear it, but you want to wear it at the same time. So, and instead of just letting it go to waste or throwing it away, I created this upcycle program. So you can turn your saris into kumaris. Ow. And
Ow.
it was kind of a play on words too, because I used to get teased as a kid and called Sorry Kumari. So who's laughing now?
Sorry,
But
not sorry.
exactly. But I'm super excited about it. It's something that mixes elements of two of my cultures, which is my African American West Indian side and my Indian side. So it really plays on sari culture mixed with African American street dance culture. So you have like the oversized overalls, which you can tomboy them down or you can dress them up with, make it but I'm thrilled about it. And it's kind of a slow process, as we were talking about before, but I like it. I'm ready for this like next decade of fashion design and exploration and just getting my products out there and like having adventures in a new industry, just meeting a lot of great people. I met a lot of great people through school. I was able to connect with the Black Design Collective in LA, which has been amazing for me. Amazing. I actually won a sewing machine through them.
Yes.
Industry standard. But I love this clothing line so much because it really is me. I mean, it's named Kumari. And I kind of had a problem with that in the beginning because I was like, people are going to think I'm full of myself. But it's not that. I just think my name is cool. And I'm not the only one who has it. It's a cool name. I mean, it
That's a
means.
cool name. I really like your name. I like your full name.
Oh, thanks. My legal name or my stage name?
Oh, wait, what? Did I not know?
What? Is there a
Hold
difference?
on, you have a legal name?
I do have a legal name.
What's your legal name?
Oh, Kumari Lohar Singh. This is.
Oh, word!
And it's as Punjabi as it gets.
That was an Instagram question actually. Where are you from in India? So you answered it.
And Punjabi. My grandfather is from India, and there's so many stories. I'm trying to get them all right. But he was born in Jaipur, but he is Punjabi, and then somehow escaped being in the British Royal Army and jumped off a ship in the West Indies, met my grandma, and that was that. So so my dad is like the original Blindian, so Black and Indian, which is fun. So I like the merging of those cultures. And there's actually a really dope Instagram called Blindian, which highlights mixed race couples and their kids who are Black and Indian. So I love that, like, culturally people are telling these stories and getting them out, and also showing that, like, hey, we're from this side of the world and we're from this side of the world, and our cultures told us we're not supposed to like each other, but we love each other. And that's kind of what the clothing line is all about as well. Like, just fusion, love, community, sustainability. So
Right.
I'm super excited about that part. All of the packaging is biodegradable. So the poly bags that I send out, they're made out of corn. So you could actually throw it in the ground and it biodegrades in 90 days. And then I have these really cute seed paper hang tags that come attached to the garments, and you can actually plant them and they grow wildflowers.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's absolutely sustainably beautiful.
Which I feel is like we were talking earlier about our plants. And I feel like because everybody's, really been stuck inside most of the year, these plants are life-saving. So I thought that if people could get a few wildflowers from my tags instead of throwing them away, just to bring a little joy in the house, then that's what we'll do.
Yeah, that's a killer. That's awesome. How I definitely want to go back into, bringing culture into your art. But before that, I do want to ask, how long was this process for you? Was this something that was familiar to you, or were you taught this in fashion school, or was this something that you had to learn on your own? I know, like, for a lot of dancers, I think it's important that they dive into, entrepreneurship as well, because you just never know with the industry, and so it's always good. So tell me more about, what that process was like for you.
For blending cultures or being an entrepreneur?
Oh, for being an entrepreneur, launching this clothing line, the whole process, if it was something that you just never have done before, or you learned a lot through school?
Got it. Got it. So fashion design and styling, I've always done. So if you guys go back through like my YouTube channel, even to my earliest videos, I was always styling and directing and putting together the visual imagery. So that wasn't hard. But the degree that I went for was a fashion business degree. It was a management degree. So it taught you how to build a company or manage someone else's. Um,
Mm.
that part was eye-opening for me. Like I didn't realize how much I love business. Like I knew I loved art, but I love business.
Really? What were some of the things that, you learned through that?
2 + 2 = 4, and then we can apply that to our money. I love business because I mean, what you put into it is what you get out of it. It's for as an artist, we always have the variables of, oh, I hope somebody likes my art. I hope this picks me up for this job, and I hope this. With business, there's more of a guarantee. There's more of a, you put in this much amount of work and effort and you see this kind of result, and it's more of a given formula. I mean, if you have, like, for us dancers, if we're popular or we have a great product, then applying the business to that just takes it to the whole new level. And that's something that, I mean, I wasn't taught as a kid. I was just living
Right.
my poor artist life. But I loved some of the classes I loved the most were uh, import, export, marketing, management, ownership and finance was one of my favorites. Things that are really made me feel empowered. And it was nice to also go to school with my legal name where nobody knew who I was. So I could excel and be great on my own terms without any
Mm.
pressure, which was actually really refreshing. And it built a lot of confidence that I think I had lost through the dance industry.
Right. Ooh, let's get into that. But before,
Ooh.
for people who may not be able to go to school, did you have any, really eye-opening books that you read, or maybe speakers or mentors that people could look up when it comes to that sort of thing, building your own business, marketing, finance, and all that?
For sure. Book roll call. Here we go. One of my favorites, especially for an easy one to apply, is Show Your Work by Austin Klein. It's about basically how to present yourself on social media. It's a little book. It's kind of thin, easy read, great infographics, but that's what changed my social media game and like what to present and how to present it. And then I just added my own flair and flavor to what I was doing. That book changes lives. And then another
Nice.
one that I think all dancers should read and apply is a book called Profit First, which I just finished. And again, had I known how to manage money and how to manage just finances in general, and I have a healthy
Mhm.
financial understanding, and I'm still learning, but that book was really great because it actually gives you step by step things to do, and you can go on the website and they give you like charts and sheets and stuff you can fill out, to figure out how to manage yourself better so that you
Mm.
actually are putting your profit first. You are, right when you get it, you split it up, and you're never really stressed because it went to its allocated accounts and you're still good. Again, still working on that. Yeah. Uh,
Hey, same here, same here. But we both know Miata Edoga here in LA. She has a managing cash flow for artists course that you and I both took.
yeah.
And that's also been really valuable for people who really just need to get their finances in order.
And also to feel like, I think that class itself um, was really comforting because it made me feel like I'm not alone and I'm not a loser. And, there are others like me who are in this kind of pain financially, and every scenario that anybody's been through, they've gone through in that class. And I love that. And you're in a class full of not just dancers, but directors, writers, actors.
Costumers.
Yeah, like our whole industry, like teaching everybody creative how to manage their finances and know that it's okay to start wherever you're at.
Right, absolutely. I just love talking about finances. I think that's the missing piece. I think that's the key to, because there's so many, and I was chatting with Amit Shah last week about this, and there are so many amazing artists, dancers, just beautiful people with so much to give to the world that people will never see it because they didn't take care of that one aspect,
Yeah.
which is finance and business,
Yes.
um, unfortunately. But so anyway, I want to take it back. I definitely, this is my favorite question for all dancers. How did you get started in dance, and what keeps you in it?
Okay. My mom's here. I'm sure she's heard this story like 200 times. Um, no, don't add something to it. um, I started dancing when I was 3. My mom put me in ballet. I started dancing because at 3 I watched the movie Flashdance, and that was it. That's all. I wanted to be her. I wanted the hair. Oh my God. When I first moved to LA, I had leg warmers. I had the hair. I had the bike. I still have the bike. Still got the leg warmers. So they're just in my drawer. But that was my dream. I literally wanted to be Flashdance. So I spent my life, I knew at a young age I wanted to just study dance. I wanted to learn as many dance languages as I possibly could, for the rest of my life. And I'm still learning. And I've learned, I want to say, about 14 different dance languages. Because as I was going through ballet when I was a kid, I had dreams of being a ballerina. And then I got boobies. Ballet dreams went out the door. Body type. So I started hip hop when I was 9, which was the 90s. So I got 90s hip hop, which is rad because that's the best hip hop, honestly.
Heck
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and my teacher here actually knew what she was talking about. So when I went later as a teenager to New York and met the creators of hip hop dance and met the originators of hip hop dance, it was nice to see that my teacher knew what she was talking about, which was super cool. And then I've just like floated through street styles, both in the underground community and in the commercial community. And then cultural styles, from Latin styles to African to Indian. I think the next one I really want to learn is flamenco because it's
Work.
grown woman dance. And I feel like I'm grown finally. Um, but dance it's always been an outlet for me of therapy, which is why it's been so tumultuous for me in the industry. Because I'm such a sensitive cancer, like I care what people think. That when people's opinions came in on what I should or should not be doing, it really threw me for a loop. It was very psychologically damaging, which I'm
Mm.
glad I'm away from now, because I actually cared. I mean, these were people who I considered mentors. These are people who I looked up to, and I cared too much. And I think I gave away a little bit of my magic when I was young in the industry. And but now, yeah, I mean, geez, I started dancing when I was 3. I'm 37. Still look
Work. You
still
look beautiful. You look gorgeous. You're timeless.
but
Absolutely timeless.
thanks.
Well, a lot of dancers struggle with this, and what were some of the things that helped you in that place where you felt you lost maybe a part of yourself? What helped you get back on, and what maybe could you have done differently, perhaps?
That's a great question. Um, I think first and foremost, had I done it differently and had I had the resources, I would have started therapy in LA. I would have started therapy in my mid 20s when I moved to LA, to understand myself better and to also understand my power and to set my boundaries. I think that's a big thing for a lot of us dancers, is setting boundaries, is because unfortunately dance is one of those things that everybody wants it in their videos, they want it in their TV shows and their tours, but we are the most underrated, the most underpaid, the most abused
Yeah.
talent in the industry. And they know that they can do that to us. That's the thing. And that we'll take it and that we'll do whatever we can just to get that job. And I think that all of us need to learn boundaries of like what you really want and what you don't, and what you're going to do to get it and what you won't. Um,
Mm.
and I think that's something that would help our mental health. I think the biggest thing for us is mental health. And when I first came into the industry, everybody's like, it's really competitive. I was like, yeah, but I'm me, which was true. And that was my mentality. Like, there's only one me. Like, yeah, there's other people that will do things that are similar, because there's been a million people who've copied my shit, but there's only one you. And that's, I think, one of the most empowering things that I had from the beginning that I wish more of us have. Because when you realize, like, there's only one me, I'm the only one who's going to do this the way that I'm going to do this, then it also makes you not so competitive with everybody else. Like, I've had a ton of people try and come rip me off this pedestal that they put me on. And it's like, dude, there's enough room for you to do you, boo. Like,
Right.
go do you in your corner, like with your greatness. Don't be upset at me because I understand mine now and I'm able to use it. So I think just having that empowered sense of self and mental health is a really, and business, are really super important to then navigate this wild world. Because especially for dancers and in LA, the dance industry can be and has been, I don't know what it is now, but very stagnant emotionally. And for certain dancers who are trying to socialize with groups that they think will get them somewhere, or it can be incestuous at a point, for some dancers, hopping around from dancer to dancer. I'm not dissing anybody's sex life, live your life. But if you're not growing outside of this pool that doesn't serve you, if you're not creating health within yourself, then it all just comes down eventually. And it's very damaging. I've met a lot of dancers who are psychologically scarred by our industry. And I think that if more of us, especially younger ones, protect our magic, then we'll be better off.
Right. And speak up. And speak up.
Yeah. Me, or just in general?
Oh, in general, learning how to speak up, because I think that's what's hard with dancers as well, is knowing how to speak up
Mhm.
and just speaking your truth also, even if that means having to speak your truth to a mentor of yours.
Yeah. And that's extremely hard. And I've spoken my truth to my mentors, and they've turned around and tried to defame me publicly, when that wasn't what I was trying to do to them. It was just like, hey, you hurt my feelings. This is what you did. Can we like sort it out and move on? But instead of doing that, they didn't have the emotional wherewithal to still continue to protect me. So they decided to try and rip me apart. And on many occasions, actually. And those things have done their damage. They've done their damage. I'm grateful for the counselors that I've seen to be honest. And I think that that's something that, with what little money dancers get, they should invest in.
Right. And, for dancers out there who are looking for, counselor, therapist, and you don't have access to it, Southern California Counseling Center, they are on a sliding scale based, and they have a program for people, for therapists who have come out of school. And so that's how basically they get their hours in. So if you need a therapist, but you don't have the cash money dollar, Southern California Counseling Center, check it out. Um, One of the things that I feel I relate to you a lot, more so than a lot of dancers, is your love, your true love for dance. And I mean all dance forms, because you just want to learn as much as possible. You're not afraid to dip into dance forms. You're not afraid to, fuse you really are a true lover of dance, and that's why I respect you so much. What do you think about people who say, just you should just stick to one thing, or why are you trying to go do that thing? What do you say about that? And why do you think it's important to dip into other dance forms and learn through other forms to create, a better instrument for yourself?
That is a great question. I feel like I feel like you limit yourself if you only try one thing. And to be truly great and to really understand yourself, you need to understand other people. And a great way to understand other people is to learn dance. I mean, dance comes from all walks of life, all parts of the planet. And it really opens you up to humanity. And as on a skill level basis for getting jobs, I mean, the more dance styles you know, it makes you more valuable in an audition. It makes you more malleable to a director. Somebody who thought, oh, she just does hip hop dance. Oh, wait a minute, she does Indian classical.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Let's throw that in there. Let's up your pay. So I think that what people have tried to say in the past is learn one style and do it well before you move on to another style. I feel
Mhm.
like some people have tried to say that, but it doesn't come out quite right, and people interpret it as you're only supposed to do one dance style. I heard that when I was younger and totally disregarded it.
Same here.
Yeah, I was like, wait, you're not going to limit my greatness, one, and limit this joy, because it was joy to learn. Like, I've learned from some of the greatest masters, pioneers, and teachers on the planet. And it's not just learning the dance style, it's learning the entire social aspect and reason why that dance exists. The music
Mm.
behind that dance, the intention behind that dance, and the intention might be an intention that you have not experienced in your life. So it can really change your inward perspective and how you reflect outward. So definitely don't half-ass your learning, because everybody now wants everything microwavable and instant fame, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, that's there. That question's there. So I got you.
Okay. But really, I've dedicated my life to dance, like unregrettably. And I've enjoyed every moment of it. My mom can totally attest to this. Like, I've cried to her, like, Mommy, I just want to dance. And like, she didn't always have the money to put me in dance. So I had to figure it out. I had to get a job. I had to pay for my trips across the country to learn from these great dancers. I had to invest in the time to seek these people out wherever they were. I mean, now everybody has it. It's easy. Like, it's digital. You don't have to fly to New York. You don't have to fly to Japan. You can stay at home, call this person, pay them, and take a class. Like,
Right.
so
It's
easy.
that easy.
So easy. And please.
Yeah, I'm taking a belly dance course right now with Meher Malik, and she's in India. So
Oh, yes. Oh, I love her. She is a goddess.
She really is. She really is. Um, well, yes. I want to just take a step back and rewind because you're obviously known as the Bollywaack whacking queen. And I want to know how you got into whacking. And I'm sure it was a part of your journey, and what kind of what influenced you so much to really, dive into that world and create House of Suraj.
Ooh. Okay. So I have always been obsessed with disco from a teenage when I was a teenager and I discovered more disco music. I grew up in a house of music. My dad was into music. My dad's side was into music. I have some great DJs and producers on my dad's side. My mom played the piano and was really into funk and gospel and classical music. So music really started the journey. Um, and then disco became an obsession, and fashion. Fashion was music and fashion. And I've always been obsessed with my parents' pictures from the 70s and 80s. My mom's commenting. She's like, but they lived in Korea and they had everything custom made and they had fur coats and they were disco and they were just fierce and fabulous. And they were my idols, honestly. I used to love looking at old photos. And when I found whacking, I was 19 and I went to a b-boy jam. And it was called oh crap, where's my mind? Oh God. Anyways, I'm wasting time. But it was this massive b-boy jam. It's gonna come to me later.
You can shout it out.
Super famous one in LA. And all the poppers and lockers and b-boys were there. And I was just getting into it. I was like 2 years into it, doing my footwork, being a b-girl. And I went to this event as I was such a tomboy. Like I just wanted to be better than the boys. And then at this event, I saw this girl standing in a corner whacking. And she was so femme. And I already had body image issues because of my size that I was like, wait, how can I be that feminine? But I went and talked to her anyway. And she was like, this is whacking. And you got to go to New York and learn from Brian Green. And he's the one to take it from. And when I took his class, I took my brother with me, my little brother. And he used to dance at the time. And we were in the back of the class and we were doing it. And he was like, this is gay. I was like, yeah. And
I love it.
You're right. And he was like, wait, this is what mom does. I was like, yeah. And so instantly it made this, love how she's listening. Instantly it made this connection between like my ultra disco mother and like the fabulousness of a disco dance. So I was like, that's it. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to learn this because I always just wanted to be cool like my mom, honestly. And then that was 2003. So now we're into 2020, 17 years later. Yes. And whacking is not the only style that I've learned or like expressed, but it's one that got me noticed. It was one that was great as a business decision. One that I loved. I loved the freedom of disco culture. I was obsessed with that, like long before I found the dance. Anything Studio 54, glitter, gaze, like I was in. So this dance gave me all of that. And it also gave me my femininity because before that, like I said, was a tomboy. I was a chick with big boobs, so I was kind of buxom. So I thought I had to be like the guys. And then this showed me like, no, show the body, wear heels, like be fierce. And then yes, exactly. And then when I moved to LA, I just turned into this thing. I would come to class with like leopard cat suits and heels, and I just like embodied whacking culture and disco culture, and I gave it to the kids from like 2008 until I stopped teaching in LA when I went back to school, but yeah, for a good run, it was nice. And I actually changed the entire world with one dance. Like there were casting directors that were using my videos as examples and my photos as examples of what they wanted on a project, even though they weren't hiring me, but that's fine. And then there were, oh yes. And then things that my first crew is called the Whackers. And a lot of them are still in LA as well. And we were the tea from 2008 to 2012. We were the status quo. We were the standard in the industry. People were trying to copy our vibe. And they've hired us a couple times, but then they just wanted to copy the vibe without like actually like employing us, which is another weird thing. But I was actually able to be great with whacking. Period. I was able to be innovative. I was able to completely change the industry, whether they want to admit it or not.
Mhm.
And from Hip Hop International on down to commercials and television, I got to choreograph whacking on So You Think You Can Dance in 2011,
Right.
which was cool. It was a great experience. I don't like the choreography that was on the show. The producers actually changed it a lot.
Mhm.
But that's okay. I got my round 2 when we did Dance Plus in India. But
I wonder that I feel like they do that a lot in I'm sure, but what are your thoughts on it? Since they changed your choreography, I'm assuming that they do that with a lot of people's on that show.
I don't know. I can't assume. They know what they want from contemporary. I think because they did not understand the style, um,
Mm.
the intention. Because whacking has a funk to it. Like it has an energy to it that is not easy to duplicate. I mean, the dancers were honestly struggling with the dance, and so I had to pull out a bunch of gimmicks just for TV. But I'm not sure. I think that they just tried something new, and I think because they didn't know where to put it, they didn't do it again. Even though
Ah.
our cousin Vogue, she's real big right now. And I feel like whacking is not as big because our community is a mess. But my goal when I was in LA for that time was just to make whacking common to the normal people so that normal people could see it, live the history, live the disco, and just have fun with it.
Well,
Um,
I definitely feel like you did that, especially with Dance Plus. I mean, that just introduced uh,
all,
Bollywaack, yeah,
um,
to a whole new group of people.
yeah.
And what was that experience like for you, and the effect and the impact it's made for you?
Um, I don't think I answered your how did I start Bollywaack question, so I'll do that and then go into that. I started Bollywaack in 2009, the idea of it, with one of my crewmates from the Whackers. Her name is Ayodia Jones, little black girl who grew up on an Indian ashram and started Bharatanatyam when she was 5. So she introduced me to a dance style that I was never exposed to as a kid. Um, and and to my culture, honestly, through dance. And I remember the first time she actually showed it to me, I was like full of tears. Like, what have I been missing? Why is it so beautiful? But I also saw the similarities between mudras and whacking hands and the lines of Bharatanatyam and whacking lines. So that's what really sparked the inspiration and like, wait a minute, there's something here. So I made a video with her in 2009, and that's what all the House of Suraj girls watched. That's what everybody in India watched. That's what everybody overseas watched. And what kind of showed the fusion. But then since then, it's just been a process of me learning about my culture and the dances that are attributed to it, and then how to respectfully add them and whacking together. Um, and it's been an interesting trial and error. But when 2016, 15 and 16, I really polished Bollywaack, gave it a name, started creating content on YouTube, and that's how Dance Plus found me. And they hit me up on WhatsApp. I was like, wait, how'd you guys even get my number? What's going on?
Yes, WhatsApp.
Right. I was like, wait, security? But then they asked me to come do Bollywaack on their show, and I said, cool, can I bring my girls? And House of Suraj started in 2014 on my first trip to India. And so now 2017, we're back in effect and on a TV show. And that experience was wild. I did it because it was a good business move. It was strategic. It's the fame is not what I want. The success is what I want. To me, fame is a prison. And I felt that when we were off the show, walking the streets of Mumbai, and people were just grabbing us. One photo, please, ma'am. It's like, okay, that's cool, but you're also invading my personal space and you're making me feel uncomfortable. So, anyways, fame is not what I wanted, but that show was so helpful to get Bollywaack out there, to get whacking out there, to also get Vogue, Femme. Now all the Bollywood shows are trying to do Vogue. And now they're coming out with this movie where Akshay Kumar is playing a transgender person. I can't.
Oh
Yeah.
I saw that.
That's a whole nother podcast. But I am grateful for the platform that they gave me and the publicity that they gave me and the girls to create this thing. And now brown people all over the world are either whacking or trying Bollywaack, and it's the movement is growing and spreading and building. Even while I wasn't working on it while being in school, the enthusiasm and the love for it was still growing. So, and it's fun. So I'm really excited. November 16th, that week, we're actually doing the first Bollywaack camp.
Oh, nice.
Very excited. So I've got incredible teachers from HOS and from the Whackers, and it's going to be wild. So we're doing a week of Bollywaack, and then a Bollywaack battle at the end. And then in January, I'm actually bringing out the Bollywaack certification program. So it's a 6-month program for people to learn and be certified and then go live their lives. But
fabulously.
And make some money off of it, which is cute. So now it's turning into more of a franchise, which I dig. I tried it before, needed to learn some things from that experience, and now we've recouped. Coronavirus has given us a digital platform, and now I'm really excited to see where it goes. Like I love Bollywaack fans, because Bollywaack fans are so diehard. Like hashtags on social media, it's like, wow, y'all are really living this life. And it just makes me feel like we did a good job.
You guys did a phenomenal job.
Thanks.
And that's how I got to know you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you taught, at least for a little bit. So, I was able to come to your class. That was, when I first met you, that was the last class you taught before you left for India.
Yes. Yes. And then when I just didn't want to teach anymore, period.
But you did. You came back and you did teach a little bit. And I got to know you a little bit more there.
Yes, right. After the show. Yes. And then I was like, F this, I'm out. Night.
Bye.
And I think that for the dancers who are listening, I've been teaching for 15 years. So it's not that I don't love dance. I just don't like that I don't like teaching anymore on a weekly basis, and the hustle of it and putting all your energy into a routine, and then you have to promote it, and then you have to worry about who's going to come and who's not, and see who really supports you and who doesn't. That's too much anxiety for me. So God bless all the teachers who still do it, but I just wanted to put my energies elsewhere.
I feel that. I feel that. Well, I mean, one last question on that, since you were teaching for 15 years, and I know that we had we talked before and just had a casual conversation about, you not having had the proper mentor. What would it mean for you to be a good mentor? What are some things to look out for in a good mentor for dancers who are looking for that?
I think one, somebody who has time for you, somebody who believes in you, somebody who cares about you, somebody who could even love you, in whatever form of love that is. Um, but somebody who has your best intentions at heart. I think the best mentors are the ones that have nothing to gain from mentoring you, but that just genuinely love you. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, and I aspire to be all that my mentors were not, with the people that who are my mentees. And most of the people who I mentored who are in my life have been in my life since they were teenagers. And now a lot of them are in their late 20s, early 30s. Even though I wasn't much older than them at the time when I first got them, um, I appreciate what I've been able to give them. And I appreciate that the things that I've given them, they've applied and gone on to be wildly successful with it. And that means a lot to me. I think the greatest accomplishment I have are my students, to be honest.
Mm.
All the things that I've done, and I don't say that for just, a TV show or something, but honestly, they're my legacy. They make me proud. From Africa, my students in Africa, to India, to LA, to Portland, and everywhere in between. Anybody who I've significantly impacted or has spent time with me, who has then gone on to be successful with that time that I gave them, that's big. That's big for me, to be honest. And to watch them grow and to watch them be great is like incredible, which is why I try my best to do that for all of my nieces and nephews now. Because had I had somebody like me when I was a kid, there's so much I would have navigated easier, more easily. And, I feel like sometimes people just need permission to be themselves, even though they don't. They feel like they do. Like I felt like I did. I was constantly looking for somebody to give me permission. I didn't need permission. I just needed to do it.
Mm. What made you break out of that?
Transparency, because I've been dissed so many times.
You're like,
Yeah, I was like,
screw it.
I'm not giving you my power or my magic anymore out of respect. I'm not humbling myself before you anymore because you don't respect me. You don't respect my heart, my mind, or my body. And I'm done holding back my greatness to make your insecurities feel comfortable.
Mm.
And that goes for a lot of people. I intimidate the shit out of people, and I'm so sorry. I don't mean to. I guess just a big girl. But I understand it now. Like obviously hindsight's 2020, and the older we get, now that we're like in our 30s, like everything's super clear and super transparent. So it's just understanding my own power. And that took a long time to find out, because as these people, these mentors, and these people that I opened myself to and submitted myself to who were unhealthy took pieces of that power. But they saw it in me. They definitely saw it in me. I didn't see it in me, and they kept me blind to it. So once
Mm.
I moved away from that and got to see how great I am and what I'm actually working with and talents that I have that are untapped, I was like, all right, guys, I gotta go because I'm getting older and my greatest regret in life will have been to not have tried. So everything I want to do, I will try. And to me, that is successful. If it goes and I get millions of dollars from it, fine. If it doesn't, at least I tried and I got it out. Because for me, the biggest urge and desire is that I need to create. I need to make. I have got stories in my mind that I need to get out just for the sake of getting out. Maybe they'll help somebody, maybe they won't, but I just gotta get
Yeah, no, that's one of the reasons why I admire you so much. And the other thing for you too is um, you have this ability to you consciously tie the causes that you care for, whether it be environmental, whether it be social issues, or anything going on in the world, with your art. And a lot of dancers either don't think to do that, or maybe they don't quite know how to do that. You know, how have you been able to incorporate, your art with the causes that you care for? I know we talked about obviously the sustainability aspect in your clothing line, but in terms of dance, how are you able to create, um, an effect that is more outside of the aesthetic or just the pure entertainment of dance?
I think the when I'm creating something, my initial intention is to move people. That's what I start the creation process with is like I want somebody to feel something. Um, and then from there it just blossoms into whatever the creation is. Again, the next step would be sitting with the sound. What is the music? Smoke a little bit. And just like get into that vibe of whatever it's gonna be. Honestly, that's how I made the trees on Dance Plus. Just that, like knowing that I wanted people to be moved, knowing that we had a little bit of ganja in the hotel room. Don't tell India. Um, and then just being inspired by like my number one love, which was nature, and uh moving all the elements around from there and just going with my gut instinct, to be honest. Everything that I've made, I've done pieces about domestic violence, I've done pieces about the environment, racial inequality. I just whatever. People need to be moved, people need to be provoked to feel something. Even if their feeling is a bad feeling, you're feeling. Even if you didn't like it, you felt it. And that's kind of the motivation behind creating art.
Hmm. Brilliant.
Thanks.
Yes. I just want to thank you again for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I have one last question for you before we get into our 5, 6, 7, 8 fire questions. We have a
Woo!
couple of Instagram questions, but I know I don't want to take up more of your time. So,
Full time.
this is something that I feel could be controversial. Who knows? I don't know. With the growing Indian dance community that's happening in LA and in around the world, I think it's really beautiful to see that because, I was talking with Kavita last a couple of weeks ago and how, she was saying I was the only Indian in an audition
Yeah.
amidst hundreds and hundreds of other dancers. And now we're at a place where more, because of cultural change or whatnot, more, we're seeing more people in the Indian community come out and even want to start pursuing dance more. My concern is there are a lot of people who let's see, let's word this properly.
Just un- just un-
So as a dancer, trying to pursue it on a professional level, I think it's really important to understand where things come from and understand the dance and understand the technique. And if you're wanting to teach something, that's even more important for you to understand where things come from, the history of dance, and as opposed to, and because I think people are just so caught up in the YouTube fame and all of that in general, that we forget that to be a teacher, you hold a responsibility to your students. And yes, sure, you can teach your choreography, but I do feel like that there is more to that. What advice or what would you say to newer teachers who don't quite know what that means to teach? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that in general?
Oh, great. I love this question. I think new teachers need to learn from teachers that are not necessarily who they Googled on YouTube. I think they need to do their homework, especially for particular styles. There are people who came before you showed up, and there are people who have impacted dance styles and history and communities that you don't even know about. And I think that in my generation, we worked really hard to find the history and to find the people that we needed to study from. Um, and it goes the same for, I mean, Indians who have grown up in classical dance or folk dances. Like, you're not just gonna, I mean, gurus have reputations. You already know that. So why not apply that to the other styles that you didn't grow up with? Why not apply that same care and dedication? Maybe for some people, the answer is it's not fast enough. It's not getting me famous fast enough. So for that, I don't know what to tell you, because like Andy Warhol said, in the future, everybody's going to be famous for 15 minutes. And we're there. We're at a space where people will do all kinds of things just to get famous. And when it comes to Indian dancers doing hip hop, doing Afro styles, doing house, doing whacking, doing everything that they want to regurgitate, if you're not learning properly, you're teaching your students garbage and you're making them look like trash. And that is your responsibility to make them look great. But if you can't even do the style, what is your business teaching it? If you can't even execute it properly. I've seen, and I love the Indian dance community in LA and how it's grown. Because again, like Kavita said, like there were no Indians in auditions. When I was younger and doing that whole circuit and new to LA, there were no Indians around, period. So that's why it's funny when Indians are like, "Oh my God, Kumari from Dance Fest." I was like, "Girl, I've been here longer than you, way longer than you." But I'm still here. That's the thing, is longevity is something to strive for versus being a flash in the pan and being hot on YouTube. There's more to be done. There's more artistry and discipline within what you're creating than you actually have tapped into. So I want to encourage LA teachers to stop cheating. Stop cheating. Put in the work, put in the time, put in the effort to be great, because learning is only going to make you better. And then something that I was taught by one of my teachers, and what I teach my students as well, is like, if you study and you know without a shadow of a doubt, no one can test you, no one can check you, no one can be like, oh, that's garbage. No, it's not, because this is how it goes and this is what it is and this is the history of it. And teachers, Indian teachers, can't do that right now. And I really want to, without being mean to you, I want to encourage you guys to be better. And especially during this BLM movement, like half the stuff you're trying to do is Black. So then go get you some Black friends, like make some new friends, go socialize beyond dance, because dance is not just in a studio. Dance is life. Dance is a cultural expression, and all Indians should know that. So without me like taking my rant too far, that's what I have to say.
Great response. Beautiful response.
Sorry, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
It's really offensive to people who actually put in the time and effort when you don't put in the time and effort. And I think that's where our frustration lies. It's not that you aren't allowed to be great or to be successful, because everybody is. But it's just do the work, do the good work.
Do the work, and I think the biggest thing too is having respect, because doing the work is having respect for the art form and the people who have devoted their lives to that art form.
Yeah.
Well said, Kumari. I'm going to go into our Instagram questions, and the first one is, how do you manage to do so many things?
I've got really great marijuana. No, by nature, I'm a highly functioning person. Whether I want to be or not. My best friend laughed at me one day and he was like, "Oh, I get it now. You're West Indian. That's why you've got like 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs." But I don't function without feeling productive. And if I feel like I'm being too lazy, maybe it's too hard on myself, maybe my ambition is too high, I don't know, but I just want to get stuff done. That's it. That's really the motivation, is to wake up one day in my elder years and not feel regret for not having tried. That's why I do so much.
I think that's my biggest fear too, is regret.
Yeah, I couldn't live with it.
Mm-mm.
And that's honestly why I do too much. Yeah, too much.
All right. Well, we have one question actually comes from somebody. Her name is also Kumari, which is interesting. Her question is, do you enjoy pooping?
Do I enjoy actually? Yes, the answer is yes. There's a scientific term for that. It's called poophoria.
Euphoria.
Yes.
Is that the new Netflix show?
No,
I'm just kidding.
but close.
Euphoria. All right. Well, smells very fragrant.
Oh.
So next, perfume. Okay. How important is creating a brand for yourself?
Ooh, if that is the goal, then it's vital. If the goal is to be we're talking to dancers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If the goal is to stand out from the crowd, to get noticed, to be successful, to be the one that people call you for jobs and things like that. Actually, I take that last one back, because sometimes people just want to take your shit. I think making a brand is essential. It's vital. It's vital to your identity and standing out and being different. And I think if I had taught hip hop or house when I first moved to LA, I don't think I would have gotten the same amount of growth or, global visibility, or I wouldn't have stood out as much. I wouldn't have made such an impact on the world if I had done another style versus the one that I chose. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
LA at a time when no one was doing the whacking, even though whacking comes from LA.
Right.
So
run with it.
Yeah, it's kind of about positioning your brand in the right spot as well. It's not just, okay, my brand is here, but it's like, where can you put it in, plug it in to be the most effective for yourself and what you're trying to create.
Good answer. All right, we got our 5, 6, 7, 8 questions. Here we go. Pop, pop, pop. So the first one is, what habits have you implemented in the last year that's made a dramatic and positive shift for you?
Mm. I think the best thing that I can do is keep a schedule. When I don't keep a schedule, if I wake up too late, I feel like crap. I feel keeping a schedule also keeps the normality, especially with the quarantine. And my partner taught me that as well, because she would wake up, take a shower, iron her clothes, and then sit on the bed. But it's just the simple
She would.
what she does. But
She would.
it's just the simple act of keeping the normality and the schedule, I think is the greatest thing of this year. It's also helped me be wildly productive. And
Mm.
when I'm off, um, it's a wrap. Like my partner went back to LA, so I'm sleeping alone, so I don't have my cuddle buddy. So my sleep pattern was all off for a good 3 weeks. Waking up late, cranky, mad. But yeah, schedule.
Schedule. Yeah, I agree with you there. Um, what did you wish you knew back as a younger dancer?
Business, money management, marketing. Marketing, I stepped into early in my career, and I'm pretty known for that amongst the industry. So that came a little naturally. But on top of that, business and money management.
Hmm. 100. This is going to be a slight difference to this question that I've asked before, but some of your biggest challenges that you've faced, but that's later set up success for you in the future, or maybe looking back was a blessing in disguise.
Mm. Greatest challenge internally or like professionally?
Either,
Hmm.
either.
I think one of the greatest challenges professionally was Dance Plus. My God, I'll never tell somebody or encourage somebody to do reality TV. It was a very hard experience, but it was great at the same time. It taught me that I can accomplish more than I thought I could, and it taught
Mm.
me not to give up. It taught me how to manage my emotions in the moment. Um, and it also gave us great publicity that money couldn't buy. I mean, we did the show for free. That's also people think we were paid. We were not. I came back broke. Um, but yeah, that was one of the greatest challenges, psychologically, physically, and emotionally. But it had a great outcome.
Yeah, no, it really did. Um, was it just a combination of, the time crunch or pressure from the people up top, or
No, I love that. I love a good pressurized situation. Because I feel like some of my greatest art has come out from that. But I think it is and this is for all dancers, be careful who you put on your team, period. And just if you have somebody on your team who does not have your back or who intentionally will try and trip you up, that makes for a very unhealthy situation. And there are ways to like vet that and avoid that. Um, Unfortunately, we just had to go through it, but it's important. It's important to know who's around you and to trust who's around you. Um, which is also why I've reclused a lot, especially from teaching, just to protect myself. So
Mm.
yeah, because by nature, I'm a giving person. I used to get teased by my family, and they're like, "Hey, my name's Kumari. Want to be my friend?" Because I would just walk up to anybody and want to be friends. So I think a big challenge for me was learning how to not do that and not just let anybody in, without really seeing who they were first.
Right, and that's hard to do in, a situation where you gotta go quick.
Right.
Yeah, relationships are key, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the next one?
Next one. What's the best piece of advice you've gotten?
Best piece of advice I've gotten. Two of them. Do you and protect your magic. That's the best piece of advice I've gotten.
What's the worst advice you've gotten?
Geez, there's too much to count. I think the worst advice, I could sum them all up by getting advice from somebody who really does not have your best interests at heart, because they're not really giving you advice. They're trying to give you a pitfall and then trying to watch you fail. So I think being present, that was another thing. Being really present and aware of who's around you will help you to navigate that bad advice. And that's another thing with us dancers. We're flying by the seat of our pants to make money, pay rent, also like push our careers and be great. And it's exhausting. And, you really have to be clear in your mind and present. We have to be present. And I've learned that people who don't apply critical thinking and aren't present are usually the ones that get manipulated. And so I don't blame anybody for bad advice. I don't blame anybody for like trying to trip me up in my career. I just take full responsibility for myself. And like, oh, I wasn't present. I didn't see that coming. So it is what it is.
Right. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I do feel like what you just said kind of answers the last question, which is there anything else that you wanted to share for, the younger generation of dancers that would help them in their path?
Yes. Be present. Know who you are. Study. Please study. And study dance styles. Study doesn't mean take 2 or 3 classes. Study means fully immersed into something until your body can do it without thinking, until it's like breathing for you, and that you truly embody the essence of whatever that style is that you're going to do. And be on your money game, be on your business game, read as many books as you can. Like, you don't have to go to college to get a degree.
Oh, absolutely not.
And especially now that all these colleges are like giving away free degrees online, go get one of those. Go get one. But I think for anybody who's trying, be authentic, be you, and trust your magic. Because if you trust in it, then it doesn't matter what distractions or what people come into your life, you'll always be able to navigate and accomplish.
Well said. Well said. Way to end it. One last thing for people that want to find you, where can they connect with you?
KUMARI Suraj on everything. And KUMARI, oh, hey, website, come through.
Hey!
.com right there. Yes, we're high tech. And then, yeah, social media. I love when people tag me in things. I usually reshare fan stuff, whether it's dances or art or whatever. And yeah, just hit me up. I'm around.
Yay! Well, I can't wait. I need to look up, bring my sari back up and send it to you, because I need an upcycled bomber jacket myself.
I think we can make this happen.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, KUMARI. I love you. I adore you. I can't wait to see you next week when you come. And thank you for sharing your experience and your stories to hopefully help our community.
Thanks for having me, friend, and all the best for this talk show and everything you're doing for all of us.
Thanks, girl. Love you. Ciao, ciao.